So welcome to Trade Talks. With me, as always, is Randy Beall, who is the business manager for the Atlanta, North Georgia Building Trades. And our guest today is Terry Newsome, Jr., who is the business manager for the United Association of Plumbers, Pipefitters, HVACR Technicians Local 72, known locally as UA 72, yeah?
That's correct.
So, Terry, you have a junior there.
I do.
Which lets me know that somebody is Terry Newsome Sr.
That is correct.
And it also, as I understand it, you are a third generation pipe fitter, yes?
Possibly fourth generation.
Possibly fourth.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
So there's me, my dad, my grandfather, and then my great-grandfather.
Wow.
So, which actually owned his own business at the time, so.
So you would look back through the records and figured out he was a member of the local?
Yeah, that one there's a problem. We haven't found that yet, but actually we're pretty sure that he was part of it, so.
So I wanted to talk to you about what's going on with the plumbers and the pipe fitters and the HVACR technicians in terms of the opportunities that it presents to people in Atlanta, people currently working in the trade, people who might be looking to get into the trade. I know you guys are doing some active, fairly heavy recruiting right now. What's going on in terms of the job scope and what you're looking for and sort of the state of what's going on at UA 72?
As of right now, just for the state of Georgia, we're actually slammed with work, with all kinds of work right now. Plumbers, we actually need bad. Pipe fitters, welders, and of course service techs. That's always the thing throughout every year, just about. So there's a lot of great opportunities there for the, for the plumbers and stuff like that, fitters as well.
So you're talking about guys that are working in the field that may be working non-union and looking for a better way of life.
Yes.
What kind of things would you tell them if they're working non-union about what opportunities you guys have got right now? We
have a pension. We have healthcare coverage. The scale right now has actually slimmed down to there's just a couple of dollars in between us and them now. It used to be a bigger gap there, but now it's almost neck and neck now. So, but still, I would still say the wage is still better than theirs. But that's some of the things right now we offer. So, and the benefits. Talk about that for a minute. Benefits. So we actually cover the whole family. Pension is going to be there on the day that you retire. There's always a check coming in. So,
what percentage would you say of guys that are working for open shops either don't have insurance or are having to pay for their insurance through their employer or what?
So I would say that, the insurance issue has been minimized through Obamacare and other things, especially if there are 50 or more employees, and even being competitive in the market. But the one thing that certainly is, and the quality of that insurance is different than what we get in the union. A lot of times they're high deductible plans, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 deductibles.
Yeah.
Most of our plans are under $1,000 deductible. But the other thing is the pension. So yes, the wage has narrowed up, but what they do in the non-union or open shop is they do 401ks, and most people don't save, right? That's the bottom line. And so in our situations, the contractor is paying that pension for you.
Yeah.
So you never see it, out of sight, out of mind, in the bank, and we can retire with dignity and respect.
So essentially, what you take home is what you can do with what you want. Mm-hmm. And you not have to worry about how much of that's going into my 401k or whatever. That stuff's taken care of, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Another subsidiary benefit of plumbers and pipe fitters and especially service technicians, Terry, talk about this, is I don't know of a single service technician that doesn't have a company truck. Is that true?
That is very true. Every one of them have a company vehicle, a van, truck, or whatever, but vans mostly, so yes.
Yeah, and that's and they work can to can't, which is all the overtime they really want.
Oh, yes.
They're going to get, and they generally make, service technicians are going to make a premium above scale. Much of that just due to the fact that qualified technicians are hard to come about. Is that true?
Very true. Very true.
So what are you doing currently to get the word out about these opportunities, and what has your feedback been from people that you've talked to?
This week alone, we have from other locals, I believe from the state of Florida, the state of Tennessee, maybe Alabama. We have 13 other guys here this week helping our team go out and speak to these people that are working the open shop and try to get them to come to us. So far, I think it's been well. I'm getting texts right now from Jarrett Way left and right, so I think it's working out. We'll see what happens. So,
what do you say to them? How do you approach that conversation so that if somebody's happens to be interacting with us and is working non-union, how do they know what to do? Like what are your guys saying to them? Are they going directly to the job sites? How are they actively recruiting right now?
They actually go on the job sites, or if they see a van, whether it be a service tech van sitting at a store pumping gas or something like that, they'll actually stop in there, go up to the guy, give them a card, speak with them. So, and then they'll usually call us later on about that. So,
and what's their feedback been?
Some is positive.
Yeah.
Some of it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some open shop companies out there that are paying them good and some of the benefits as well. So
yeah, I've heard some commercials lately of some companies will go to unnamed that are offering unbelievable bonuses, a $5,000 signing bonus.
Oh yeah.
To that's how much in demand plumbing service technicians are.
Yeah.
Terry, I got a question for you. Coming from the sheet metal trade, I know this has changed a lot. I'd like to hear your perspective on the plumbing aspect because you're a plumber by trade. Back when I started in late 80s, and I don't think you were right there in the same time frame, I believe, or maybe early 90s. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. We worked 30 to 35 sheet metal workers on a job like Nations Bank Tower, and I'm sure plumbers were the same way. Nowadays, they're building high rises with 8 to 10. And can you just for a moment just talk about how prefab, because they do a lot of prefab in the shop now, how that has affected your trade and the amount of people that it takes to perform the work?
Well, doing all the fab work, that's done at the fab shop. Most of the contractors, they have a fab shop. They got a couple guys in there working. They actually build the batteries together, put them on wheels, fly them up to the floor, and set them.
So tell us what a battery is for those that...
A battery is what you don't see. It's stuff that's inside the wall. It's the carrier, it's the piping, it's the water pipe, the vent, the waste piping, all that inside the wall. It's what the end user does not see.
I got you. So it's what ties in the toilet and all that.
That is correct.
So doing that in the shop compared to the field actually cost jobs ultimately, or did it?
Yeah, could. But you got to do that in order to keep up out there today.
You do. So, absolutely. I just thought it was interesting, but we've got so much work in Atlanta that we need people.
Yeah. True. One of the things that I am impressed with, and your school particularly, is your apprenticeship training center. What kind of stuff are you doing there to keep up with what's going on, prefab, et cetera? What are you teaching the guys, and what kind of training is available for your prospective members through your apprenticeship training center?
At the school, we actually train them on everything, service tech work. We got anything in there from a small ice maker all the way up to big chillers and everything that's in between that. Plumbing, we have everything there. We have a 2-story building actually inside of the building, and they can do all the in-wall sanitary rough-in, water pipe rough-in, all that stuff, just like what we just talked about, the fab work stuff. Welding, we have I believe 80 weld booths out there.
Wow.
With all the top stuff there. I mean, and then the actual guys there that's training these people are actually great. So, is
it something that an apprentice goes through the stages of being an apprentice through to adjournment, or when you organize people in to the local, do they have access to the school and the training as well?
Yes, they do. Yep.
And so what are the most popular things that your students and people that you're trying to organize in are most interested in right now?
I would say really, I guess, welding. I believe everybody thinks that's the coolest thing right there. So.
Well, and they hear over and over and over how there's a shortage of 100,000 welders moving into the next decade.
Yep.
So they see that as and Not to mention on jobs like Plant Vogel, they're paying a $4, $5 an hour premium for a welder. So you hear about all this and you come in wanting welding. But, plumbing has always kind of fascinated me. I mean, I've done some plumbing at the house, right? And I do know this, that it's supposed to always flow downhill. Supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't seem like it always works that way, but it's supposed to. But, it's a cool trade. To me, though, the service technician route has always, if I had to go back and my dad was not a sheet metal worker and my whole family, I think I would have pursued service technician.
Service technician is a broad term. What type of work specifically are you talking about as a service technician?
Heating and air. So that's what they cover.
Okay, and that's mostly commercial in your
Yes.
commercial and industrial.
Yep.
With the local.
That is correct.
And so what if someone's working in the field, residential? They're a residential service truck for an open shop, going and calling on houses and doing their thing. How quickly can you assimilate them into, and what type of training does it require to assimilate them into a commercial and industrial environment?
They could actually come in. We'll actually put them through some sort of evaluation to see what their skill set is. And then, like I said, Andrew down there does a great job training them. So he could get them up to speed. And that works out well for us.
The systems work the same,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
The components are just larger.
That's right.
You're moving air
Right.
from one place to another.
Right, and it's going to
Yep.
take refrigerant. It's got a coil. It's got all the same elements. It's just on a larger scale. The big difference for those that might be looking to get into commercial space compared to residential is residential. Whether you're an installer or a service technician, most likely the installer is going to be paid per ton as a subcontractor, and the service techs are generally paid a how I say this, they're paid by the call, if you will, and the more they upsell you, the more they're going to make. So a little
Right.
word to the wise here: if you have someone come out to your job from residential, don't think they're always just doing what's in your best interest. They're also padding their pocket a little bit.
Every time I hear one of those ads, I think they say, $1,500 off a whatever train system. I think, okay, there's $1,500 I can negotiate right there.
Yeah. Yeah, or the catch for service is, hey, we'll come out and we'll service your equipment for $49, right? Trust me, that bill will be higher when they're done.
Yeah.
But the good thing about service technicians in the union trades is you're paid by the hour, not by the job.
Right.
And so, if you hit 4 jobs in a day or 15 jobs in a day, it's of no concern to you. You're there making an hourly wage. And like I said earlier, premium hourly wage. And how many of your service companies today are hiring?
Probably just about every one of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Isn't that amazing? And plumbers, I'm assuming the same way too, but service I know is always.
service is pretty much year round. We're always looking for somebody. So
Yeah, and the one thing, Rudd, that's often overlooked, and I tell our youth build students this that are considering that part of the trades, is keep your driving record clean.
Yeah.
Without a clean driving record,
that is a must
you're
right
done,
there.
isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to have that.
Got to have it.
Let's talk about that. What sort of disqualifiers? Let's say someone's working in the field. Clean driving record for an HVAC tech is paramount. But what other things would disqualify somebody from becoming a member of the local?
Really, nothing else. Really, I mean, we got all kinds of people. I mean, I don't want to talk bad about nobody, but I mean, if you got a bad record, maybe on the personal side, if you've been locked up,
Right.
that's something from the past. We still work with them. I mean,
Yeah, typically drug testing, obviously, always pass a drug test.
yes,
But the record thing only comes into play if the end user does it. Like, for instance, Southern Company, you can't work on a power plant if you have a felony.
Right.
That's not a union issue. That's not a union contractor issue. That is a customer issue.
Right.
So, but typically it doesn't come into play on high-rise, multi-whatever buildings.
Right,
Doesn't matter.
Do you have any good stories about someone who came from maybe a hard scrabble background, made some mistakes early, turned their life around through membership of Local 72? That I hear these stories a lot, and I really think that is something that doesn't get told a lot, that there is a path for you to reclaim your your status in society through the trade unions.
We actually have one member now. I was not part of this, but I saw it happen. So one of our agents showed up to the office early one morning, and there was a guy sitting on the steps. And he told our agent, "I am homeless, I need a job." Now, I don't know how he got homeless. I don't know his whole history. So that guy came to us homeless, no place to live, and I'm not sure if he was driving or walking really. Now, as of today, this guy is on top of the world now, basically, so to speak. Got a great job, got a house, got a family now, the whole 9 yards, and he's doing great. And that's all through Local 72, and also him putting in the hard work. So
yeah, because you're not specifically working with one contractor. It's not like an employer situation. You can find situations for people that they can flourish, and that's through a multitude of employers, right?
Yeah.
How many employers do you have? Do you work with?
Actually, we have over 100 signatory contractors.
And so where does that jurisdiction, where is your jurisdiction? If somebody's interested in working in this area, where does that mean?
Pretty much we cover the entire state of Georgia except for a couple of counties. Up on the northwest corner, we don't cover those. And then Savannah has their own local, and then Brunswick has their own local. Same way with Local 150, which is Augusta. So
you have an office in Macon,
and
Albany,
and Rome.
Yep.
What's the process if somebody's working for an open shop, working non-union, and they're like, because stuff happens, man, that causes you to think about your future a little bit more, and that doesn't happen based on what you say or I say. It happens based on what happens in somebody's life. Maybe they, get their girlfriend pregnant, or they, have somebody move in with them, a family member or something that says, man, I got to make a change here. What's the process that takes them from working for an open shop to coming and being a part of Local 72 and then going to work for you? Like, take me through that process. If you were talking to me as a non-union plumber or a pipe fitter or HVAC tech, what would that look like?
They could actually call us, or they could come down to the office, sit down with me. I'll walk you through the whole entire process. We do the paperwork. If you do got some experience, I'll take you to the school down there, get you evaluated down there to see if you need to go through the program or if we could start you as maybe a tradesman or something like that. So
you test in based on the aptitude of whatever you've been doing, and then you give them sort of a classification.
Right, yep.
And then that classification dictates where you can put them, what opportunities may be available to them, right?
Right.
And do y'all slot in? Will you slot, meaning into your apprenticeship, people that you may start them in the third year, second year, fourth, you know what I'm saying? You'll do that as well.
Yes, we will.
With experience. And the other thing I think is worth noting, Rudd, is that if you want to be an HVACR technician, you don't just show up at the plumbers and pipe fitters, I'm talking about a novice, and say, hey, I want to be an HVACR technician. You actually, if I still have this correct, Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, but you do 2 years of core training, whether it's as a plumber or a pipe fitter, and then in your third year, you have the ability to choose that route if you have an employer that's hiring you as an HVAC. Is that still that way?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
Are you focusing more, Terry, on bringing people into the local, or is it a combination of that plus kind of talking to younger people about the apprenticeship track moving forward? Are you doing a little of both?
Both right now, yes.
And so how many apprentices do you typically take in a year? As many as you can get right now, I guess.
Yep. Right now, the school, we actually host 560 apprentices right now.
Oh my gosh.
So,
wow.
And we could use more.
So y'all probably take in, I know sheet metal takes in 88 in a year. Y'all are probably over 100, I imagine. Yeah. 120, I bet.
Yep.
And so through the 5-year, is it 5 year or 4 year?
5 year.
5-year apprenticeship program. You have 500 and something apprentices. Mm-hmm. That's good, but I mean, you could use more, right?
Always. Yeah. Every day.
So what's the future for a young person who has been told they have to go to college? I think that's one of the biggest pet peeves for me.
I agree with you.
Is we tell everybody they got to go to college, and you don't have to go to college. My son is a great example. I went to college. His mother went to college. His grandparents went to college. He didn't want to go to college. He's a welder. He's doing great, right? So there's nothing that says you have to go to college and incur $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 worth of debt to have an excellent career. Have you had anybody come to you and go, man, I've been to school and I still have no idea what I want to do. This is something I'd like to pursue.
We have a lot of guys like that actually went the college route.
Yeah.
And then either finished college and then couldn't find a job.
Yeah.
Or else maybe was in college and said, hey, this ain't for me. And then, they actually came to us.
Yeah.
You know, something that's we don't talk about a lot, but the average starting age in most of our apprenticeships is above 23 or 24. And there's a reason for that. One, push to college.
Yeah.
And then they get in there and they realize it's not for them, or they can't achieve what they need to achieve. We have enough people with business degrees working as Starbucks baristas.
Yeah.
So they decide that's not what they want to do, so they end up coming to the trades. But that is changing. We're starting to see a lower and lower age. I think at one point sheet metal's age was 27. It's down to 23. Mm-hmm. You know what it takes to move an average that much?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of 18-year-olds.
You know, a school that I know you're familiar with because they send a lot of guys to the UA, and your guys recruit up there a lot, is a group called Georgia Trade School. Mm-hmm. And they that guy told me their average age student now has gone down to something like 19.
Wow.
So I mean, it's happening. It's just that not enough people know about it, and they don't really understand the opportunities and the kind of money that you make. They see these charts about college graduates, but what they don't take into consideration is it's not what you take home, it's what you keep. And if you're having to service that student loan monster, then you're far worse off than if you would make something that you can take home completely. And with your program, you take home what you take home. You do with it what you will.
Right.
You live on it, you invest it, you do whatever, because your retirement is taken care of.
Yeah, I want to tell you the UA is progressive, much like the IBW in several regards. One is, so they have agreements with some colleges, West Georgia, I think Atlanta Area Tech, and there's a couple of more. Jeff Rogers of the Apprenticeship could speak more intelligently about it. But if you are there and you go through, XYZ in their school, you get credit as if you were in the apprenticeship. If you wanted to leave West Georgia College and come in and you were doing some type of trade training, especially in their trades, you get credit. And it's just a bridge over it. So when people do realize that they might have made a mistake, they come over and they haven't lost anything. They haven't lost any time.
But they get credit for
yes,
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a key thing. I think that's a very creative way to help people that maybe made a financial mistake.
Yeah.
In going to college.
So Terry, how do we steer people to you? What's the website? What's the path they take? What number do they call? What website do they go to? How do they go about finding out more information and getting somebody from your organization to reach out to them if they are interested?
So as right now, the phone number is 404-373-5778, and you could talk to either myself, David, Steve, anybody there. We could actually help them out. The website is ua72.org.
Okay, and I will put that in the notes in the comments below. So
very good. Yeah, it's really appreciate you coming over. Terry is a brand new business manager. And
brand new.
Few months on the job.
4 months on the job.
And, one thing I want to address before we close it out is, because we get this in the Youth Build program, and Glenn Kelly from the BRIC addressed it, right? And I think it's important. Tell the the listeners and viewers how you get to where you're at. In other words,
that's a good question.
It is. Because they think there's magic to it, right? But tell us, how did you get involved in becoming a union official?
That is a very good question. So back in, I want to say 2011, I went to the UA convention, which is huge. Whenever I went to it the very first time, that was a eye-opener for me. I thought, holy cow, this is no joke. this is real. Coming back home on the plane, a lot of the guys that were there with me were asking me, hey, have you ever thought about running for office down there at the hall? And at the time, no, never crossed my mind. I've been superintendent since my middle 20s, just about. I love running big jobs. I love that. And so as time went on, I decided to run. And one of the guys said, hey, you need to go for vice president. I said, well, I don't know nothing about that. He said, you'll do fine, trust me. So I did. I got that. As time went on, I got a call. I was working out of state. I got a call from several guys saying, hey, run for financial secretary. I said, that's not me. I don't see myself sitting in a little small office all day long looking at a computer, running numbers and everything. But the more I thought about it, I thought, well, the actual term is only 3 years long. If I don't like it, I just won't run again. I got in there and I loved it. And I stayed there for 6 years. And our other manager was going to retire, so I decided to step up to manager, which is where I'm at today. And I love every bit of it. So.
Yeah,
what is it that gives you the satisfaction that you talk about there? What most satisfies you about that?
Trying to make changes to where I could change people's lives, make it better. It's going to be a long road ahead, but that's something that I want to do. So,
it first starts with involvement, which you did, and then I think it takes special. A lot of our members don't see what goes on day to day, Rut, and they don't see the sacrifice that's made. They sometimes look at it through rose-covered glasses, and everything looks great. But the reality of it is, these managers put a lot of time, a lot of energy. We see grown men and women sit in our office and cry, and that's hard to take sometimes.
Very true.
We live the job. We were talking about it this morning in the office that, we are the job. We live it. We breathe it. We take it home. Our wives hear about it, and I just think it's important for people to hear that the magic of becoming a leader is being involved. That goes for everybody.
Very true.
And Terry, I appreciate having you on our board with the
Thank y'all for having
us, and you do a great job. And I know our locals are headed in the right direction with the leadership that we have. This next generation of leaders, Rut, is going to help move the unions forward. I really believe that. Well,
and to your point, becoming a technician or a plumber or a pipe fitter or a refrigerator technician, whatever, that's a point at which you enter. It doesn't mean that's the point that you'll stay.
That's right.
As evidenced by yourself.
True.
As evidenced by people who've moved up to foreman or supervisor or whatever. I mean, there's a whole world of opportunity that starts at some place and then goes from there. It's not just a trade organization where you work as a tradesperson. You can do that if you want to, right? Or you have an escalation path that you can follow as well and be sitting in a chair like yourself or someone, like I said, supervisor
Very well
or foreman
so.
or whatever.
Or even up in the office as project manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of avenues for that college student, Rut, that could make it, right, for one reason or the other. The trades are also a springboard to becoming an office person at a company. We've got many tradespeople, plumbers, pipe fitters, service technicians, and sheet metal, I know at McKinney's and other companies, that are working in the office right next to a Georgia Tech graduate.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had lunch 2 weeks ago with the president of a contracting company who came through the ranks of a local union. So the world is your oyster if you work hard and pay attention and have integrity and everything, just like any other organization. It's just that the benefits and the retirement are better.
Oh, yeah. Yep, true.
Well, thank you very much for joining Trade Talks.
Yes, sir. Thank you
and
for
we'll
having me.
talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
And we're out.